Today I want to talk about what good does it do you to speak against yourself. There's two client stories around this. And this has to do with manifesting and things like that. And even if you don't believe in manifesting, what good does speaking against yourself, like thinking negatively about yourself and not believing the best about yourself, what good does that do? I don't want to say bad words. What good does that do? What good does that do you? And then I want to talk about going all in. There's some kids riding their bikes. And then I want to talk about going all in, right? Which is basically the same thing. So how do I want to start this? I had a client, and I don't want to say that I had to fire him, but I guess basically I fired the client because one of their goals was that they wanted to really work on their confidence and things like that. This is, of course, I was doing a bit more psychotherapy within the coaching, still coaching, and they were very, very negative, and they woke up in the negativity and they went to sleep in the negativity, and just saying all of these things that were negative about themselves. Just saying how they didn't want to be here and what's the point of continuing on and things like that. They would constantly loop that in their head over and over and over and over again. And this is a person that went to the right schools, had the right job, lived in the right communities, lived in the right house. And even if they didn't live in the right community, they moved into the right community. Even if they didn't live in the right house, they made it the right house. Just all of these things, right? But they still continued to loop this negativity in their head. And when we finally got to that place of they were starting to feel better about themselves, but they were only feeling better about themselves when they were getting lots of outside validation. And one of their goals was to make sure that they didn't rely on that. They wanted to feel confident without it. And we essentially ended up not working together because they wanted to be okay with receiving outside validation. It's okay to get compliments. It's okay for people to tell you that you're doing a great job and things like that. But if you are the freaking best, you don't need for anybody to tell you that. If you believe, what I tell my clients or what I tell people when I get on the phone is that I am the freaking best. You know what? I'm gonna say I'm gonna say it exactly how I say it. I am so fucking good at what I do. I don't need for you to be 100%. All I need is 49%. I will take you the rest of the way because that's how fucking good I am. And as a matter of fact, I don't even need for you to be 49%. And I don't need to guarantee results because you're gonna see them right away anyway. I don't need clients to prove that. I already know that. Right? I don't need for someone to come and tell me, oh my gosh, I'm feeling so amazing. I'm feeling so great. Thank you so much. I already know I'm great. I already know I'm the fucking best at what I do. I already know that. I already know that. I don't need anybody else to tell me. But when you live waiting for someone, these kids are snapping on the bikes. I'm gonna have to close the windows though. Doing some really cool tricks. Anyway, when you're waiting for the outside to validate you, then you're always going to be waiting for the outside to validate you. And then what happens when they don't? What happens when they don't? And this is because this person was constantly speaking against themselves. I even asked them, let's just say they were a doctor, right? They weren't a doctor, but they were a very high profile profession. Let's just say they were the doctor. Like, what person wants to go to a doctor that says, like, I'm a shitty doctor, I'm not the best? Who the fuck wants to go to a fucking doctor like that, right? Like, I don't. I'm not trying to go to a doctor like that, so fuck. Another thing too, like, what good does it do you to not believe that you are the best? Like, Muhammad Ali said that he was the best even before he became it. What good does it do you to doubt yourself? And I understand there's some people that they just, like, they feel like they constantly have to be growing and they can't get cocky. But they're already at a level where they have seen, like, I knew this was going to happen even before it happened, right? I'm talking to the people that don't allow themselves to believe that it can happen. Or I'm talking to the people that oh my gosh, these kids are just going crazy. I'm talking to the people that you're kind of there, but you're not sure if it's okay for you to do it. You're not sure. You're kind of like with one foot in and one foot out. Fucking go all in. Go all in. Go all in. What do you have to lose? Because thinking the way that you've been thinking in the past has gotten you this far. You're gonna have to change. You're gonna have to be somebody else in order to get to the next level. It's just how it is. You cannot be the same person, especially if you're a business owner, entrepreneur. And you know what? This goes, if you have a 9-to-5, this applies to you too. You want to get a promotion, you want to get a different job, you want to have your own business, you want whatever it is, right? You cannot be the same person, and you got to let yourself believe that that is fucking possible for you. I said this in another video, or I'm going to repeat it again. I had another client who was saying that he wanted to be recognized. He wanted to be recognized for all his hard work. And he was named in some publications that are global. I'm not going to say, but everybody knows of these publications that are super freaking big and super freaking famous. And he didn't want to take credit for any of it because he didn't want to come off arrogant. And I said, who said that? Right? And fuck what everybody else says. It has been your choices that got you here. And there had to have been some instances where you needed to be arrogant. You needed to think that this was possible for you, even when other people thought that it wasn't possible for them. You have to fucking think positively of yourself. You have to speak positively of yourself. You have to speak up on behalf of yourself. If you're not your biggest cheerleader, you expecting other people to do it for you when you're not doing it for you, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And I talked about this in the same video around my son. Yes, I've been his biggest cheerleader, but you cannot say anything less to him. He will not believe you. You try to tell him he's not handsome. Yeah, okay. You try to tell him he's not smart. Like, you're not a part of Mensa. You don't have college education. Like, who are you? I'm me. That's who I am. You can't tell him anything. And some of you that want to, like, use the Bible or want to think in that way, like, you couldn't convince. And this is an example I'm going to keep bringing up. And I'm going to talk about other examples too. I'm laughing and mocos are coming out. I'm laughing. But you couldn't convince Jesus anything less of what he believed of himself. You couldn't convince him. Other greats in sports, right? You couldn't convince Kobe that he wasn't the best. You couldn't convince Michael Jordan that he wasn't the best. And this was before they were the best. This was before it. This was before it. They had to think that way. And maybe you want to think that it's delusional. It's not freaking real. But that was real to them. It had to be real in here first. It had to be real in here first. Maybe you don't believe in manifesting, right? But I'm talking to the people that do. I'm talking to the people that do. You know what you want. You know that it's possible. Or let me say this. You've seen it in your head. But something within you, you're still thinking it's not possible for you. I don't know what you need to believe in. There are so many miracles that happen every freaking day. Miracles happen to me all the freaking time. I know people that miracles happen to them all the time too. All they had to do was first see it and hear. And then if anything else happened, no, that's not my reality. That's not my reality. No, that's not my reality. That's not me. That's not me. That's not me. Try to tell my son that he's not handsome. First off, I'm going to tell you that's not true. But you try to tell him that he isn't one of the best human beings that ever existed. And he'd probably agree with you only because he would say, at his age, there are so many other teenagers that have accomplished way more, but that doesn't mean he's not going to be someone or isn't already somebody freaking amazing. You try to tell Michael Jordan that, right? Try to tell Muhammad Ali that. I'm going to keep on saying this, right? But they saw it here first. My son put a vision board together, but before he learned how to put vision boards together, he already saw himself there. I already saw myself here. I already saw myself here. I already know. I already know. You can't tell me that I'm not beautiful. You can't tell me that I'm not good at what I do. You cannot effing tell me nothing. And I want to this goes deeper, right? I'm talking to specific people that I want to go as far as to say that you are God. That you are God, yeah. You know who else used to say that, or just probably still says it, but not publicly because people don't pay attention to them, is Kanye West. He got so much freaking criticism, and I was one of them. I was people like, calm down, but now I get it. Now I get it. When I'm in my God state, when I'm in my goddess state, I freaking get it. I freaking get it. Because Jesus didn't want us. I don't believe that he wanted to be worshipped. I believe that he was an example. And not just Jesus, like so many other people in spiritual literature and just literature in general, giving us the clues. They're all around us of what you need to know, what you need to believe in order for you to have everything that you want. It's getting hot in here because these kids. Let me open this window right quick. No edits. I'm doing no edits. I don't edit my videos anymore. It is what it is. But what if God was one of us? Right? And what if that's you? We're all connected. We're all connected. That's why when you think of something, when you think of someone, they text you or they call you. And this happened even before our phones were listening. Yeah, you watching, you know that happened. You had that rotary phone where you had to hang up and start all over again. That was before that. What's your excuse for that then? Because that happened at that time. And you're gonna try to say, oh, that was a coincidence. Um, that's connectedness. That's connection. That's frequency. That's everything being connected. Or when something happens right after you think it. And it could be positive or negative. But it all depends on the person that you're being. And that's for another video. We'll talk about that another time. But it all boils down to what you are choosing to believe about yourself in your God state. If you're God, would you be thinking so negatively about yourself? If you were God, would you doubt yourself and what is possible for you? If you were God or a goddess, would you tell people, or would you let people tell you no? Would you let people tell you what's what? No. I wanted to say the F word. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. And I know that sounds really crazy because I used to be one of those people. I used to be one of those people that were like, wow, that's too much. You need to calm down. No, you don't need to calm down. What most people's problem is that they need to be pumped the F up. Like you need to think better about yourself. You need to think bigger about yourself, and you need to allow yourself to believe that you can be better, that you are better, that you are bigger. The only reason why you don't have what you want is because either you're paying attention to the outside or the story that you're telling yourself, that you're not good enough, that it's not for you, that's for other people, or that person would never want you, or that money, you could never have it, or whatever negative story you are telling yourself, that is the reason why you don't have it. It's not because you're arrogant. Because you're here, I can tell that you're not arrogant. As some of the biggest people that ever existed were arrogant AF. We're arrogant as F. Your problem isn't that you're conceited. Your problem is that you don't think highly enough of yourself. Go all in. What do you have to lose? What if your reality starts changing? What do you have to lose? And you really have to stop and be aware of yourself. This is something that I practice with my clients all the time. One of the first practices we do before they do anything, this is something that I had them do right away. I had them do right away. And it was coming out of autopilot. Paying attention to your thoughts. Paying attention, being aware of yourself. No longer needing the airplane to run on autopilot. Coming off of autopilot and being aware. And it's commonly known now as being awareness. Being aware of your thoughts. Being aware of yourself. How often are you telling yourself that you suck? How often are you telling yourself that you can't do something? How often are you telling yourself that you can't have something? How often are you telling yourself that that's not possible for you? How often are you telling yourself that I can't have that reality? That's not going to be real for me. Because if you're telling yourself that all the time, of course, that's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to be aware of. You know people like this already. That they're so negative and only negative things happen to them because they're always negative and just keeps on looping and looping and going around and around and around. Be like Muhammad Ali. Be like Kanye West, okay? Maybe that's too much for you, right? It's more appropriate. Be more you. Be more you and stop telling yourself that it's not possible for you, because that's the only reason why it hasn't been possible. That's it. That is it. That is it. There's no gatekeeping here. There are no secrets. But if you need help and you want to work together, you want to experience some of the transformations, stuff like that, other clients have experienced, my link is down below, but I'm not going to tell you anything different. There's no gatekeeping here. You already have all of the answers. You're just not deciding. You're just not telling yourself that you have all the answers. All you have to do is make the decision. It's really that simple. It's not that hard. All you have to do is tell yourself that this is possible for you. All you have to do is tell yourself that you can have that. And let the answers come to you. I know it sounds crazy, but if we're all connected, then you have everything you need. I know it sounds crazy. And it all starts up here. And the old you is going to come up. But you have to go back to that. You have to go back to no, that's the old me. This is who I am now. This is who I am. How did you get here? Unless you're being the same person. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. All right. That's all I have for today. I hope this really resonated. I don't even have to intend. I already freaking know. I already know. I already know this helped. I'll talk to you later. Remember, you have everything you need. You already have all of the answers. You just aren't believing. You don't even have to believe most of the time. You just have to come back to being that version. When you're that version, you automatically believe. I gotta go.